Why is my refund taking so long? I have things to pay for. I have rent, I have the mortgage, I have insurance for my car, I have food. The last time I checked, eggs are almost $3. Milk, I don't want to talk about it. It costs more than gas right now. But you know what you do? What everybody else does. You go and check your bank account. And your bank account is on, like, it's lower than low. You're so close to not having money. If you sneeze, you're broke. If they even take out the bank fees, you are broke. So what you do? Hey, I filed my taxes 3 weeks ago. Let me go check on the return. So, like a normal individual, you go online to irs.gov, the Where's My Refund tool, and you put in your information and your refund, and boom, you see this. What the hell is that? You get so close to the screen, you probably got to hit your face. Still processing. 3 weeks. Why still processing? But you know what? You're a smart individual. You're going to go old school with it. You're going to call the IRS. So you do 1-800-829-1040. You wait a little bit and you get this.
Welcome to the Internal Revenue Service. You can also visit us at www.irs.gov. Your tax return is still being processed. A refund date will be provided when available. If you would like to hear this information again, press 9.
And you're like, what? Am I hearing you right? You can't even take my phone call? Or even if you get through, the statistics say only 7% of people get through. The IRS phone number has been jumping off the line. 300% increase in calls. You can't even get through. So what do? Where is my refund? In this video, we'll go over the top reasons why your refund is delayed, what you can do, if anything, so at least you understand why this is happening, because no one's really giving you the exact reasons why. It's Carlos Fraser from Tactical Tips. Well, let's jump in.
Be strong.
Let's go. You are not alone. It's estimated about 29 million tax returns are delayed right now with the IRS. 29 million. That number's not fake, not made up. 29 million. Just to give you an idea of what 29 million is, the state of Texas in their most recent census had 28 million people in there. So the state of Texas is waiting for their tax return. And we know everything's bigger in Texas, right? All right, here are the top 4 reasons. 1, the IRS is working, or still working, should I say, on the 2019 taxes that you filed in 2020. Yes, 2020 is still after you. Don't worry. All right, your 2019 return affects your 2020 return. Yes, 2020 is still on your butt. And what happens when the pandemic hit? It hit right in the dead of tax season. And they, like us, had to close down shop. And when the IRS had to close down shop, they took all the 2019 returns, especially the paper ones, and they put them into storage because they had to send the staff home. That caused the increasing delay because IRS procedure says first in, first out. So when they came back into the office, or when some people came back into the office, they have to work on those returns first. You're not going to jump and do the 2020 returns without finishing the 2019 returns. And as you can see in some of the things that I'm going to say, it has to be done because we're going to have to use your 2019's numbers to know your 2020's numbers. Yeah, I know it sounds confusing, but you'll understand later. So that is one of the biggest issues. The IRS is still working on the 2019 returns. 2, the IRS has remote work issues. Think about it. They're the IRS. You're going to let somebody just go home with a laptop from the IRS? No, you got to vet them. When the COVID hit, they had to close down their shop, right? And just like you and me, you had to work from home. But the IRS is different. The IRS collects the most information out of any agency that you know of. They have more data in their pockets than basically Google Facebook and anyone combined. They know your name, they know your social, they know your date of birth, they know how much you made last year, they know when you had a kid. They pull in information from Social Security, Medicare, DMV, bank, and even other records that I really can't go into. So they have so much data. So it was really hard for them to just let people go with a laptop and work from home. In a finance committee hearing, the IRS commissioner laid that all out. He said this in that meeting.
How is the IRS protecting taxpayer data as employees work from home? And what technology is the IRS using to allow IRS employees to review but not retain protected taxpayer data, such as trade secrets?
We take, as you can imagine, because we're one of the largest data warehouses on the planet, other than maybe a few organizations that probably don't have an identity. But beyond that, we collect data from everybody who does business in the United States, as well as every American. So we take to heart the protection and security of the data that we do have. Every employee could not become telework eligible because every employee did not have a particular secluded area, maybe at their home, did not have broadband, did not have this or that. So the ability to telework, work from home, and particularly to use access taxpayer data was determined on an individual basis based on the employee's circumstances. And we do have employees who we could not get into it.
And that makes perfect sense. I don't want Tyrone going home with the laptop with all my information on it, and then just so happens his mad girlfriend wants to go through the information. Or let's say you're doing someone's information and you have friends over and it's at a party. They get your laptop. What if your laptop is stolen? What? Some NSA, freaky. This is the problem. So that's number 2, and it slows down the process. Number 3, there were 3 big, large IRS plans or packages or tax acts that were passed. The first one with Trump that gave you the stimulus of $1,200. The second one with Trump that gave you the stimulus of $600. Then the third one with Biden that gave you the stimulus of $1,400 has some retroactive tax laws that affect your 2020 return. When you put that all together, it makes a big fat ball of so much information that you have to go through it. And even us here at Taxco are having such a hard problem just seeing what laws work for each individual. But think about it. If we, the tax preparer, are having issues, the IRS is having even a bigger issue because they have to review it. They have to go through quality control checks. And what the IRS is saying is that some of these checks are being manual now. Yes, manual. In 2021, we're doing things manual with humans. Yeah, crazy. But it is what it is. One of the biggest credits that are delaying it even more is a credit called PI. And PI is you had the ability to look back at your 2019 income if you had a child for the child tax credit, or if you were getting the earned income credit, to use it on your 2020 return to get a higher credit. So if you had more income in 2019 and less income in 2020, we could have taken your 2019 income to give you a higher credit. Or if you had less income in 2019 and more income or no income in 2020, we can use that for the earned income credit. I know it sounds all confusing, but the point is your 2019 return was in there. So if your 2019 return, hypothetically, if it's still delayed, your 2020 return is delayed if you took that credit. In addition to that, the IRS has no real procedure on checking those credits, so they have to use manual. It's crazy. Manual people to pull out the return, check your 2020 return, and see if those numbers match. I know it sounds insane, but that's what's going on. All right, last but not least is the quality control checks. In the quality control checks, the IRS has 5 checks that they have to do for quality control to make sure your return can go process through that 21 days and make sure that your return is top notch. Bueno. What they do is they check for identity theft. They want to make sure you are really you, because they know them scammers are in pajamas, but they're ready to jam on your money, and they want to stop scammers as much as possible. So they have the identity theft checks. So once you pass the identity theft check, the second place you go on to is the math error check. They check to see if the return makes sense. Does 1 + 1 = 2? If it does, You then go on to the next section, which is basically a quality and credit. And in that quality and credit check, they check for questionable credits. They check for the child tax credit, the earned income credit, or any other credits that you have. And if you go back to one of the numbers that I was talking about, I think it was number 3, that is one of the biggest issues. People are getting bottlenecked up there. But let's say you get past that. You then have to go on to another check, and that check is your wage and income check. They want to make sure the W-2 that you put in is the same W-2 that they have. What if you have a W-2 that's old or your employer changed it? They want to make sure that's correct. So they have to do that check. And then last but not least, you get the last check, which is the debt offset check, where they basically check, do you owe us any money? Or you made it through all those hustles and you jumped through all the fiery flame hoops. But if you owe us some paper, you better believe, neighbor, we keeping it. So let's say you get past that check. Then they do the other federal debt offset check. So they say, wait, hold on. Before I give you this money, let me call my friends. Hello, student loans? Do they owe you any money? Oh, they do? All right, I got you. Hello, states? Do they owe you any money? Okay, don't worry. They were trying to pass by. I got you. Hello, child support. Do they owe you any money? They do? Oh, I definitely got you. Click. So you have to go through those different checks. And if you go pass through all those checks, then boom, you get your refund. So as you can see, it is exhausting the amount of issues that are coming up into this tax season. And I know our office is getting calls about it all the time. We're trying to calm people down because we understand what the problem is. And I'll tell you what the problem is. You have no control. You cannot control this. You just have to wait. You can't call somebody. You can't tell somebody to do something. You can't check on it and get the right information. And that's frustrating. We live in 2021, and one thing the IRS should do is give you some type of comforting message. We're working on it. We're working on to see if your 2019 income matches, or we're working on it. We're looking to see if your wages are matching our systems or our records. I think if they do that, it would help people out a lot more, because not knowing after COVID, after being home, just like sitting down, not knowing is not what we want. This is Carlos Fraser from Taxco Tips, and thank you for listening. Your bank account's on nothing. Look at that, $3. You can't even, what can you buy for $3? I don't even know. You could probably get something from McDonald's, but it's not even, is it food? I don't even know, it's food. Sending your laptop home with Tyrone. You better call Tyrone. Call him. People should just like this video because I gotta read all this stuff. And I gotta do work. I know people are gonna call me like, why you ain't doing my taxes right now? What are you doing these videos? Let me go finish some work. It only took me 15 minutes, so.
Be strong.